A thin jet of sunlight was penetrating the room as the door to the balcony was ajar. He was on the chair with the table in front of him. This table seemed to be the messiest table in the world. Books on the table were spread in a disorganized way. There was an ashtray filled up to the mouth with cold butts. A broken shield that he was awarded for his performance in the department. A dried rose that his friend gifted him, as a joke, after picking it from a road on Valentine's Day. Some broken pencils, a fused bulb, and a ton of useless things. As a writer, he used to think in colors to write about the darkest shades of life, and at that time he was trying to do so. But the disorganized patterns of intruding colors were haunting his piece, and it seemed that these colors were never going to settle in an organized way so he could be able to write something. So far the result was a babble. This was nothing new to him. Every time he tried to write something, he had to disentangle the conjuring puzzles of colors in his mind. The bright shades represent the good, and the dark shades represent the evil, as stereotyped by society, but who the hell was he? An echo of the devil and God. He used to think. He got up, picked up his cigarette case, and went to the balcony. Perhaps the cigarette case was his favorite because it was almost rusted. And people keep things that long only when they are gifted by loved ones. The cigarette case had space for 20 cigarettes. He drew a cigarette, banged it twice on the case, and then ignited it with a golden Zippo lighter. The sun was slowly rising in the sky, the light was flooding the earth, and the ravens were hovering in the sky, outshining the melodies of beautiful chirping birds. Why, every time the noise outlawed the melody, he often had queries similar to this one. This rut often threw him into the abyss of depression every time he got sick and tired of organizing the colors in his mind to write a story. The same goes perfectly for the people around him. People bluff each other by expressing sadness with the assistance of flesh on their faces while, in actuality, they have the best cards to turn the table. Is life predictable? No, definitely not. He used to shrug his shoulders by coming to this conclusion every day, but that is the actual fun of life. His subsequent thoughts always intrude on the conclusion. To think or to write is quite a complicated process. He chuckled at his thought while looking here and there, thinking that if someone is looking at him talking to himself, he will definitely spread the news around the community that the writer has gone mad. No one is aware of the confounding nuisance going on in a writer's head. I bet the frequency of this voice, if it pierces the writer's head and spreads across the earth, will surely make everyone go crazy. But the writers always opt to remain calm, as they are impressed by the grandeur of the seas, not the ordinary rivers that will have to merge into the sea someday. The darkness of the night was gone about an hour and a half ago. The light is making fun of his strangled expressions, just like a man being a laughing stock for the people who saw him praying in the mosque after a long absence from the house of God, like they have been running it for God in his absence. He didn't even realize when his cigarette had extinguished, as he was holding the cold butt of the cigarette between his fingers. The sun was heating up, and he was feeling the scorching heat upon his body. His shirt was drenched in sweat. He was feeling dehydrated, and he thought that if he stood up on the balcony for another 15 minutes, he may choke. The summers in deserts are brutal. He went back to the room, closing the door behind him, to hug the darkness once again. Another night gone, another seed sown deep down in the mind of this puzzled writer.